Okay. Hey everybody, I've been having quite a few questions about different things concerning the light with multi-pin sights and dealing with the fiber optic and how it's oriented to the light. So I thought I'd make a little video. First thing I want to talk about is the fiber optic, and I have a couple of drawings over here. This first one shows when you clip off your fiber optic with a fingernail clipper or a scissor or whatever, it's going to pinch it off. You can visualize using a side cutter on a piece of wire, make two angles on the end of the fiber. When those two angles, when you put the light through the fiber, they're going to want to go out in different directions. So that doesn't really help us. Makes your pin want to starburst and causes those kind of issues. So there's a couple different ways you can deal with this. I use just a fingernail file, emery board, and I'll hold my fiber really close to the end so it's just barely out of my fingers. I'm just going to lightly sand the end of that fiber, and this works better with a 19 or a 29 fiber pin. And you want to make sure you hold it square to the fiber. You can't let that thing bow back and forth like this, because then you're going to sand your fiber off with angles on the sides. And you want to hold it so it's square to the file and make a nice flat end on it. And actually, if you will hold the fiber up to a light, you will be able to see the roundness of the file or the fiber as you square that up. And you want the end of your fiber to look flat like this. Well, those little scratches will help the light emit from the fiber, will help the light get into the fiber, and it will make it a nice round pin where you can see it better. And main thing with where guys are running a light, generally we've introduced optics. We're using the clarifiers, open class setups, and we need to brighten that pin up to be able to see it. And that's why we're running a light. Guys running sights on fixed pin or lights on fixed pin sights are dealing with different issues, low light situations, hunting in a blind. It'll get dark in the blind way before shooting hours are over with. And there's a couple different ways that these companies are making these hunting sights. Most all of them have a little rheostat screw in light. Screws on this side here, goes into the bottom. This sight is all the fibers are wrapped around in this light gathering situation, and they all come together so the ends of the fibers are looking right into the light hole. It's a better setup as far as making a brighter pin, in that it works a lot better to get the light into the end of the fiber versus shining light on the side of the fiber. And this sight here, I've got a light on it, and it's got multiple pins, and when I turn it on, you can see the pins light up, and we're lighting them all at one time. That's just how this is made. This light on my hunting bow, same situation. It's my own personal hunting bow, and it has a multi-pin sight, and I have this sight set up to light a single pin, because that's how I like to use mine. I want to light just my top pin. Low light situation, I'm not going to be taking a longer shot. I've run my fiber, my top pin, right into the end of the light. You can probably see it lighting up here like this. When you're in a hunting situation and you're in a true low light situation, the pin isn't going to need to be very bright at all. If you have a gang of pins, 4 or 5 pins, they'll tend to wash out the target. You won't be able to see past them very well. So you'll really want to dim them down, because in a low light situation, any light at all in your pin makes a lot of difference. So with that said, that's kind of where we're at with hunting sights. There's a lot of different configurations of hunting sights. It's been a real challenge for me, as I didn't design this light to be used in that capacity, trying to accommodate all the options. have a lot of guys running lights on their hunting sites. I run one on mine. Mainly I started hunting in blinds last couple of years, and the low light situation in the blind, the light really helps a lot. And something else I was talking about with the light working well with the fiber, this is kind of just a drawing I made of the LED housing that comes with the kit, and this represents the black tubing that comes with the light. Depending on, you may or may not use that depending on how your setup works. And then the fiber optic comes in, and what you want to avoid is the fiber optic being bent inside the light housing where the side of the fiber is up against the light like this, versus the end of the fiber, like in this drawing here, the LED down here, the end of the fiber going where the light can see right in the end of it. You're gonna have a much brighter pin with that setup. When your fiber comes around and is bowed inside the light housing, pin's not gonna be as bright. Typically, if you're struggling, you don't feel like your pin's bright enough, there's some situations with scopes as far as sun shading, etc., brightness outside, but this is a big thing. Your fiber optic has to be where the light can see right in the end of it. It's going to make it a lot better. Next thing I want to talk about is fiber size. And when you're running optics, guys, I mean, everybody sees different colors differently. Their pin will look different to them. I've found as I started running more magnification in my scope, I liked a little bigger pin as far as fiber size. When we shot bow hunter class, we all wanted a little bitty tiny pin. My eyes were much better than I was younger and all that stuff, and that's what we all kind of do. But without magnification, that small pin, you don't have that interference of the lenses, etc., causing that pin to disappear on you. What I've found is my next step was to a 19 pin, ran that for a long time. Started shooting a 6X with the B clarifier. My pin wasn't as good as I wanted it to be. I had a little center drilled lens that I come across. I don't even know how I got it. It took a 19 or 29 fiber. I dropped 29 fiber in there and set it up, and I went to the range, and I'm thinking, this is just really nice. And I think what makes the 29 fiber look better for me, and I would, say, check it out, guys. Don't be afraid to go to that 19 or 29 fiber if you're shooting a 10 and you're shooting magnification, because the pin is going to be so much rounder, especially if you can get the end of that pin really nice and flat, so all the light is projected from the fiber directly at your eye, as opposed to that starburst effect. I see quite a bit less of that with a sanded fiber. Now, I know guys will melt them. I always did that. I take a lighter and hold it up, melt the end of the fiber. Guys will heat up Allen wrenches or some metal tool and use those to mushroom the end of that fiber. That all works like that. I had varying degrees of success and how I felt about my pen when I was doing that. What I really like is to use a 29 fiber. I shoot a 6 or an 8 power lens. I shoot a 29 fiber and I just sand it flat, stick it out of the scope. 16th, 32nd of an inch. It isn't going to want to curve on you because it's really nice and stiff, and it looks really good. So that's really about where I'm at with that. As far as the hunting, the multi-pin sights, like I said, guys, there's so many different configurations of all these hunting sights. The light can be made to work with them all. You're shooting competitively, like shooting 3D. You're gonna have a little bit. I got guys shooting the lights and doing well, getting good pins. It's gonna be a lot harder, a lot more work, and a little more specific application to get a really good pin if you're shooting multiple pins. I got a couple of guys, my staff, that run multiple fibers through the tubing into one light. They're still using all the different colors. They're lighting 3 pins at one time versus 1 pin individually, which is how this light will work in its typical configuration. But cut. No, we're all right. I'm just going to talk some more because Christopher can edit this stuff. So we're just kind of flying by seat of our pants. The little dog's walking around. She wants to go outside. Probably haven't looked at the camera as much as I should, and while we're making this video, it's going to be edited. I'm going to post it to Facebook or to YouTube, just to see what it looks like and see how that goes. But I want to go back and address the different styles, how the pins come out of a hunting sight. This sight here, I don't even know what brand this thing is. It's an Extreme, I think. But the thing has, all the fibers are ganged together. They wrap around and they come into the light housing right down here. All the fibers, the ends of the fiber are looking right at the light. This light, this setup, the pins are quite a bit brighter, really more easily than this other side here where the fiber is shining on the end of the light. If any of you guys, when you're working with your scope, your fiber optic, just try it. Put the light in the end of the fiber, put the end of the fiber right in the light, look at the fiber, look what it looks like. Take your light out of your fiber out of your LED housing, and then just shine the light on the side of the fiber. That fiber is not going to glow anything like it does if you put that light right in the end of it. So if you want to make a bright pin, you really need to have your fiber optic right in the center of your light, right here, so the light bulb can see the end of the fiber, and it's going to put all the light right into the fiber. And if you haven't kinked your fiber, and that's another thing that people run into, when you are threading your fiber into your sight, if you bend it, if it gets scratched up, all those things will diminish the way the fiber optic will transfer light. So that's another thing you really need to watch when you're putting fiber optic into your sights. And that's all I got for now.